what would you tell a 10-year-old Angelo?
Cry less, worry less. It will be very, very alright.
You just have to say it as it is.
After very traumatic experiences, every night I'll be crying and praying, reading Psalms just to calm myself down. From there to translate to getting comfort and make art. I'm a full-on end-to-end creative man. My father was a DJ and glasswork artist. My mom was a painter, sculptor, soprano singer, textile designer. By blood and by craft, it's like arts end-to-end. So that kicks off the next phase of my life where I go on a journey to live with 27 different families in the space of 20 years. In the middle of all that, you still have to find a way to live and survive. Okay, now I look at my hands, got this art gift, I got these songs, and I just start grinding like him. I've seen you do this thing for the past 3 years. You've been with us every night, like clockwork. Nothing tells me you will not make money from this thing. And that was when I knew, okay, I'd hit something. What did you perceive? Does it look anything like where that story is coming from? That's proof that tomorrow will be fine for you. And then I walk into church, and then my pastor is shouting.
Before we dive into today's episode, I have one little ask of you. Please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. This is the only one free way to support what we're doing. If you've been enjoying the stories that we've been telling or just enjoying the content, please just take a moment to subscribe to the channel and make sure that you also share with someone who could benefit from these conversations. There's still so much for us to achieve, and I think that by doing this together, we can build so much together. We will do everything in the best of our ability to bring you the best guests, the best conversations, the best episodes. I sincerely appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. All right, let's dive into the episode.
Hi everyone, my name is Mo and this is the Hungry Creative Podcast. Today's guest is a superstar. We have a superstar in our studio with us. We have an amazing talent, a bag of many, should I say, tricks and skills and passion and drive and stories as well. So many things that we don't even know, or maybe some people do know, but I mean so many of these things, I just even came across him and it feels like I've known him for ages, but I think his story is such a beautiful one, such an inspiring story that I think, it will be so good to share on the platform today. I'm really, really excited to have him on the session. It's a privilege to actually have him, even though he's so humble, so down to earth. You would never even know how much this man has done. That's me, that's my perspective, because I could go on talking about how this happened, but thank you so much for coming on this platform, Angeloh.
My pleasure,
it's so
Mo.
good.
My pleasure,
it's so
Mo.
good to have you here. I don't take it for granted. I'm so glad. I'm pleased to have you here. Angeloh, please tell our beautiful and lovely people what you actually do, who you are and what you do.
All right. Hello, Hungry Creative community. I'm so excited to be here. First of all, let me just say that I'm excited to be here because if everything I'm seeing you guys do, if everything I'm seeing your platform share, you have a community that's rallying around this. Obviously, it tells the kind of community you're building. Very intentional people, very creative people, very story-driven people, and people who obviously aspire to a lot and have rich stories within themselves. I know it's easy for everybody to watch and be like, oh, I love the stories you're telling with the people that you're interviewing, but I'm sure even the people in the comment sections have a lot of stories themselves, and it's just good to be part of a very authentic space, especially now in a space where there's so much noise and scripting happening these days. When you thankfully we're industry people, so authentic when you see it. So amazing work, and it's so good to be here, guys. My name is Angeloh. I'm a Nigerian. I'm a music artist, visual artist, event producer, storyteller. So now if I was to break down those, that's like the broad back. So everything I'm going to say under that now is like branching off from all those 4 things. So musically, I make Jesus music and love songs. On the art side, I'm a digital illustrator. I'm art director, I'm co-founder of an animation studio, art director of an events branding and production agency. Basically, in arts and animation alone, I have credits with Netflix, Cartoon Network, Lagos State Ministry of Health, Step Up Foundation, MacArthur Foundation, Philips, Access Bank, you name it. Music wise, my songs have been in quite a number of Nollywood blockbusters. Obaram. Obaram basically that was is by Kawede Kasumi, had Nasi Sime, The Cavemen, and Kemo War, the late Onyeka Onwenu. We basically produced the entire music for that. I got two AMVCA nominations for that project. Music has also been on films like Ahame Funa, What About Us, with Waka Well. Um, then I also produce events. So we have like a festival, like an event production and branding agency where we produce and brand events and media content for clients and also for ourselves. So we've done, if you've heard of the show festival called Aramanda Festival, it's a touring Christian festival that has so far happened in Lagos and Abuja for like 6 editions now, where the branding brains behind that event. If you happen to hear about Lecrae, the popular, Christian rapper from the USA that finally came to Lagos sometime 2023, I believe, that festival that brought him Rockfest was also a festival that we worked in the entire branding and production. My co-partner and co-founder was the strategy person behind that. I also have my own flagship event, Bay or No Bay. We're going by February next year, we're going into our third edition. So like I said, I make Jesus music and love songs, right? So what does that even mean? It means I make Christian music that young people like Mofi, or young people like you guys in the community obviously would like to hear. Afro beats, Afro R&B, soul, hip hop kind of sounds, but from a perspective of someone who believes wholeheartedly in Jesus and has been helped by Jesus, and is just making sounds for people like me, who are also going through different aspects of their life to just navigate life, navigate love, navigate their faith. And so I make Jesus music and love songs. On the love song side, I have a flagship event that I've started doing now called Bay or No Bay. Just in case, you might have seen a viral, couples panel podcast on YouTube with Aproko Doctor, Chef Amaka, Nicole Indigo, and Ifa Ekalo. That's my show. That show basically was mine. Yeah, it's done like 500k streams and counting on YouTube. Second edition had Ibrahim Suleiman and Linda Ejiofor, and we're starting to plan that rollout for next year's edition, February 10th. Yeah, I'm a full-on end-to-end. I tell stories, I make art. I'm a full-on end-to-end creative man. I was born on Valentine's Day, so I have a very specific affinity to.
Okay,
Yeah,
now that makes
there's
sense,
that one. Then
bruh. You're a lover, man. Love.
bro. Like there's that one. Then my
Oh
dad was
wow.
a DJ. My father was a DJ and glasswork artist. My mom was a painter, sculptor, soprano, singer, textile designer. So like by blood and by craft, it's like arts end to end. Like
That's end to end.
yeah. So
Wow. Okay, that was
it's
that
it's
was a
always a
lot,
struggle trying to introduce myself because like when
bro.
you
You
have to now
just
find out, okay, what's relevant to this room. So
Oh my goodness, but that's so beautiful. Like, oh
yeah.
no, no, you actually did. You did a good job. You did a good job at putting everything together.
Like that's like under 180 seconds. Hey,
Ish,
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 ish.
ish. We tried.
Wow, wow, Angelo, you're doing the damn thing. Like, you say
Bro.
everything with such, you know, humility and collectiveness, or what? If that is that even a word? But I mean, you've done amazing work. You've done amazing work. But I think what's more unique about you is just the way you carry yourself, and I think I'm just drawn to that. I think you're very original. You're very real. I mean, oh, let's talk about Angelo. Like this Angelo guy. He's a musician. He's an artist. He's a producer. He's a promoter, dancer, lover, man, a husband, destined husband, um, agency owner. What else? I mean, you're doing so many things, and I think when I DM'd you, when we had that DM exchange, and you were like, the portfolio long, I was like, yeah, I like that is long. I thought I was doing a lot, but like, bro, there's always someone is it when how do they say that saying, like, one man's village or one man's farm is another man's whatever something, bruh. That's exactly how I felt. Like I'm doing a lot, but bro, this man is doing way more than I can even think. And I keep meeting people like you, like people like also doing a lot more. I'm like, bro, you guys doing a lot. So what? How do we even start? Should I start with? I think we should start from the very beginning because I feel like the story, what our discussion, what we spoke about just now about how you approach people, how you're very passionate about people. I think it's a good place for us to start, talking about who you really are, about your very beginnings, and then we can now dive into your passion and your work.
Okay.
So, Angelo, what's your story? Who is Angelo? How did you get here?
Yeah, so like I said briefly, divine setup, what are the odds that your father is a DJ and a glass worker and your mother is a painter, sculptor, visual artist, textile maker, singer, born in
Wow.
Sul, like what are the odds they live in Lagos, Surulere in the 90s, specifically in the 90s. So here I am, little young kid. An average day in the house. Your dad is there, on the DJ set, prepping for a night at the clubs because that's where he
Wow.
works, and your mom is, singing along to everything is playing. So like think of the biggest pop songs of the time. Obviously, he's jamming them, So already like from a very young age, like my music palette is like very, very expansive and trained because virtually all the genres of music, he was vibing them, And then my mom is there, trying to paint. And obviously now 2 year old, 3 year old, you cannot do without interrupting your parents. So you go there
Of
to hold the
course.
brush. And then she's holding my hands and I'm not like painting. And so like you just pick up an interest in all the arts. And then, I'm also the only child to both of them together anyway. So definitely they are too creative, so they don't even really have time for recreation like that because they are just creating. This is pre-social, like social media was not even a thing. The internet have gone with just the I don't even sure like
Yeah, I
internet was not
don't.
even like a thing in
Probably.
the country at
Yeah.
that
I
time.
don't even think
So
there was internet then.
there
Yeah.
wasn't internet then at
In
that time
Nigeria.
in Nigeria. So, people were like active, and so TV, I had the TV set. The only TV set in the house was technically my TV set because as far as I remember, I was really watching it. So I'm watching I'm an MTV based baby, like all the MTV, not MTV based, like MTV itself. Like you're watching all the music videos, you're watching all the award shows, you're also watching, the documentaries, science documentaries, Nat Wild, NASA Air and Space Guys documentaries. So you're interested in sciences, you're watching art documentaries, you're seeing your parents, deal with all the kinds of art. So you're also like interested in the arts. Then it's also an era that is big on televangelism too. So all your favorites and favorite pastors are also on TV outside. There's one healing miracle service on TV, there's one preaching program on TV. So all that whole experience, I'm like overstimulated by that as a child in day life and on TV. And so obviously I grew up loving arts, I grew up loving music, I grew up, I'm drawing a lot. I'm drawing so much that even like when we're done writing the exam, you know, I'm done with the exam first, but you don't want to stand up now because if you stand up first, they will not tag you as the FEW. So I'm just in the exam hall, like drawing God of War at the back of the question paper, you know,
Damn.
all that kind of stuff. I'm also like getting interested in music well. So Westlife is jamming and I'm like rewriting their songs, and I'm also like reading the Bible at the same time. So I'm like 8 years old and I've read like Revelations back to back like 4 times. I'm fascinated about how the world will come to an end because I've read a lot of aerospace stuff. So like I'm interested, I'm invested. Oh yeah, sure. There's romance novels on the other side of things. There's a lot of soaking of knowledge, and that's just forming my idea of like how I want to express myself and how I think life should be. And
Wow.
then, things start to shift where this is this young kid. Of course, now everybody was making money. My mom was doing so. Like, my mom was literally like in the entourage of Stella Obasanjo when Obasanjo was elected into like our first democratic presidency. Like
Wow.
that entourage that was going around the US thanking Nigerians for voting. My mom was in that entourage, on the
Wow.
women's side. Um, Although prior to that, my mom and dad had separated, so it was now like a single mom situation. And then she traveled for that. And then in the middle of that, she collapses and goes into a coma. Turns out apparently she had diabetes, high blood pressure, and so many other stuff. You know, we average Nigerians now go for regular annual checkup and blood work. No. So stuff you could have probably like cited years back and managed has spiraled into a whole lot of things. And so you finally find out when it's too late. And so that just begins like an episode where she's like in and out of coma. She's either very extremely sick, poverty now seriously like kicks in because like she's in coma for so long, she's out of the loop with all these people she were high flying with. And then for deeper context, they were not even really like friends. You know, I say this because you know how some of those are, and it happens a lot still now. So like a lot of people don't really have genuine connections. You just have permanent interests. Like, oh, we're with you. So I love how, you know, you're paying attention to how like, and again, I say this, and that's the problem with us, high performance, we always feel, and because the vision we have in our head, I'm making a tangent a bit, the vision in our head of what we want to be and achieve is like so big, it always makes us, part of the humility sometimes for people like us is that what we're doing right now is still like a dwarf compared to what we know we're capable of or aspire to do. Yeah. So, but why I was going there was that, you know, back then there were not a lot of genuine relationships. So I said this to say now because it's easier now when Morphin's platform now is like 1 million streams, you know, YouTube, 1 million YouTube followers, everybody's here. Now at that point, everybody's like rushing to be your guy because you're the plug. And like, well, why couldn't you just be like his genuine guy when he had his 10K, his 5K, his 1K, his 200, when he was trying to figure it out? Like, so a lot of people didn't have those, still don't have genuine connection. So she was in that mix, but there were no like real genuine connections. So if you add that to not be like swept off the entire mix because you were sick for like years, I'm talking like years stretch, we now get into like a whole phase of serious poverty, and she can't even be there sometimes because she has to be like in a coma. So obviously she can't even take care of me. So that now kicks off the next phase of my life where I go on a journey to live with 27 different families in the space of 20 years.
Yeah, when I heard that, I had so many questions. I was like, excuse me? 27?
27 different families in the space of 20 years. So I'm supposed to be Igbo. Both my parents are Igbo, but I can't really, I'm more Nigerian than Igbo, and I'll explain. I've lived with Hausa people. I've lived with Yoruba, Ijo, Ishekiri, Edo, Akwa Ibom. Like, name the tribe, I've lived with them. In fact, I lived with them long enough where at some point I was already speaking the language. Of course, without use, I don't know how to speak them, any of them anymore, but you get the point. Like, I was already that deep into it. Name the religion, for example. Like, at some point I was a Muslim for like 6 months, right? Because then at that point we were living with a Muslim who was like a very cool alpha guy that was like a father figure at the time. I was already reading the Quran, going to mosque to pray, all the full yards, and then that era shifted because we moved again. I've lived with pastors, I've lived with regular people. Name the church setting. I've worshipped in Celestial Church of Christ, Cele, Cherubim and Seraphim, Jehovah's Witness, Jehovah's Sharp, Catholic, Anglican, Methodist, Baptist, Deeper Life, RCCG, just name it, like name the denomination. Then if you come to Pentecostal, name the church, Christ Embassy. I've worshipped, like you get, I've been around. And I mean, if you count, I mean, on average, that's like 8 months per house if you calculate it on average. So that's enough time to like, I said I experienced it, right? Also family dynamics wise, social class wise, I've lived with wealthy people, I've lived with poor people, like poor. I've lived in highbrow areas, middle class areas, face me, I slap you situations. I've lived in polygamous homes. I've lived with single parents. I've lived with functional families. I've lived with dysfunctional families. I've lived in loving marriages. I've lived in abusive marriages. I was telling you now, like, if any of you watching now, like if you've seen King of Boys Part 2, the opening scene where Reminisce tells somebody to bite the table so he can step on his head as torture. I know I've lived with somebody that has done that in real life, right?
Wow.
And funny story was, he was abusive to all of us. You know, that kind of man there, he drinks a lot, huge guy, so you can't even dream of beating him back. Like, I'm talking eras where years after that, you'll be seeing him in your dream and you're still like waking up with cold sweat. You go out to drink, and you're basically there to make sure he doesn't misplace his wallet, right? And you come back home and he shouts, make noise, beats everybody in the house, beats the wife, beats the children, beats the stepchildren, probably even abusing them on the side. You don't know, like, there's so much happening. Beat you, join. Very toxic space. And even when I know the beautiful thing about drunkards now, you always get to have very philosophical conversations. And so one of those moments too, when you're asking questions like, you know, bro, for example, like because the person that he was married to was my relative, and she was a active person. He was supposed to be the breadwinner, but he wasn't winning any bread. So we're talking like deadbeat dad, abusive guy, right? And you know, there are days we'll be going hungry in the house and she has to go and hustle. And she was a pretty lady, you know. So she'll go and try to do some 1 or 2 business. She'll come back, oh, you know, honey, these are the updates. This person wants to offer me this job. And his jealousy kicks in because obviously in his mind, everybody wants a piece of her body. And then, you know, another cycle will kick off again. Where of course, they'll merge everybody now. So, and when you're like, we're doing, I'm like, bro, like, but why are you doing this? Like, you're not winning bread. We're all starving. Even you don't even have pocket money for yourself to even do your normal flexing. I like this woman, and it's like, bro, what do you mean? Like, you know, I'm her third husband, right? Like, you were there. So for context, some of these people, I've lived with them like twice in my, like, you know, you lived with them when you were younger, you went around, then came back when you were like older. You've lived with the ones that were abusive, like they treated you like houseboy, house help, even though you're supposed to be like blood relative. And then you went and came back. They had now had a change of heart. They were not nice and kind people. Like at some point, I've lived where you came back, the person threw you out of the house, and your neighbor upstairs picked you up. So like 2 houses in the same compound. That's the level of.
Wow.
The only thing that's not happened to me, I've not just slept on that bridge. That's all.
Wow.
Right. and so back to that story, and you know, he's like trying to explain how, for example, and all of these things will make sense to why I do all the things I do. You know, and he's trying to explain how, you know, I'm her third husband. You know, when she met me, like the last husband she left to come be with me, you know, he was a balling guy that this woman could afford to drive around and not repeat a car in a week. That level balling. And this 90s we're talking about, so it's not like you get. And why did she leave the man? You know, I came back from the US, drug dealer, deported, tall, handsome, sexy looking guy, and she's leaving her husband, coming to be with me. You know, telling me she loves me, she leaves him and comes to marry me. Like, so why? So now with this context, how do you think I'm like, me now that I'm a deadbeat guy, how do you expect that I should not be worried if she's going to cheat on me outside? Because after all, like, our whole relationship was on the ground of cheating in the first place. I'm like, oh my God. In fact, that story
sounds like a big mess.
That story, bro, is a big, like, that story stuck with me so much to the point where I was in university. So I went to University of Lagos, Unilag, greatest university in the world. Shout out. Greatest Acokites. Department of Creative Arts, Visual Arts, Honors, BSc. And there was this hot babe I was tried to date in like year 2. We already started talking, we even gone past like kissing and all that. So I'm like, oh, so wait, by the way, you have a boyfriend, right? She's like, yeah, sure. So yes, now me trying to play the card of, okay, you know what? Let me see if you say, you know 90s R&B now, and this era R&B, this era R&B is just trash. 90s R&B, men try to be honorable. So you don't move in until the girl's guy is acting strange. So let it be that, okay, I'm coming to save you. You get me? So me, I'm like, you know, okay, so how far if you're dating, like, what's up? You know, is he treating you wrong? Is he wanting? And I was like, no, we're good. I'm like, hey, you're good.
Loophole, you know,
bro. There was no loophole. This guy was a good guy apparently. So I just took my 2 left leg and ran away.
Oh
my guys are asking me like, bro, why do you end it? I'm like, bro, by the time I share this other story there, I'm like, I've come from a place where I've seen terrible relationship decisions happen. I cannot afford to be dating a girl where she stops loving me tomorrow. I cannot tell you for free that this is what I did that caused it. Because our relationship started with her leaving a guy that didn't do anything wrong. So that's pressure already. Like, I'm not about to do that in my life. So obviously, like, all these, even at some point I lived with, so if we're even talking creativity now, imagine I came from a very artistic background as a child from my parents. Some of the people I even lived with who happened to be very creative people. So like at one point, one of the houses I stayed in was a house of bachelors who were all songwriters, singers, rappers, music producers, music managers, studio engineers. So I was even interning, doing all those things at the same time. So it was just like, it was just like a whole rounded experience where I went to learn how different kind of people, like learn how it is to be different kinds of people. So basically what happened to me is like I've experienced the lives of virtually almost every kind of demography available. As far as like social demography, I think the only thing that's left now is like, okay, go and live around the world now. I live with the Chinese, I live with Asians, I live with Europeans too. Like, but like but if you come to like a psychological social class level, bro, I've been around. And also that like all comes together now to inspire like the kinds of stories I tell. Obviously now you can see why I'm also appreciative of people, because first off, in the middle of all that, my mom had died. So these were situations where the only person that was obliged to take care of you was gone, and you had literal total random strangers. Even, I mean, some of them were supposed to be like your relatives, and they were very terrible human beings, and you had to endure staying with them. And there were total strangers who just took you in because they had to take you in, and not because they had everything in place. You know, they just did it because it was the, you know, maybe the God-fearing kind thing to do. You know, at some point, even my school, it was my church that crowdfunded me going through secondary school and university, you know. So then, funny thing, I was even telling you, like, because another thing that was supposed to also happen at this point in time was I was supposed to become somebody that was, ideally, the way my life was set out, I'm supposed to be a very stupid person. I'm supposed to be a very angry and bitter person. I'm supposed to be a very vile person.
I was gonna go there,
bro. I'm supposed to be very. In fact, with money now, I'm supposed to be a very wild, pompous, arrogant person, because I'm supposed to be walking about with a big chip on my shoulder. But one of the things that happened now was that in every of those seasons, for some reason, I don't know whether it was my mom that prayed for me on her dying bed or something, but I just had sense. Like, I can't tell you, but I just had sense. I just felt attracted to things that had sense. So, you know, when you're watching all those movies and you have all those white kids or black kids telling you, you know, I'm destroyed my life. When they ask you why the therapist is asking, why are you trying to ruin your life? Say, me, my daddy didn't come to my games. I had nobody. I'm like, dude, what are you saying? Like, why is your best idea to ruin your life because your daddy that is trying to figure his own life? Because that's even another thing.
You haven't seen nothing,
bro. First of all, you have not seen anything. Like, you have not seen anything, bro. Like, if my problem was that didn't come to my games, that's my problem. That's nothing.
Games? What's games?
What's games? you even have games to attend to. I ain't got no. What do you mean by that?
Like.
And funny story too, I also had, like, you know, because I mean, by the time you're a teenager, you're getting into like teens church, you're also seeing other young people too who are going through, you know, some form of struggle, and you're also having some of them that are just acting up, like they're acting out the script they're supposed to act. I'm like, bro, like, chill, it's not that deep. You know, you're self-sabotaging at this point. Like, even at some point where people are acting out against people that are supposed to be like crowdfunding for our school fees, and like, bro, you don't want to go school, it worry you, like, pipe down, bro. Like,
you have to say that in pidgin. You can't say that in English.
You know what, go school, it worry. Why they fight? Why they try bite finger away from feed you now? Like, are you not clear that they don't have to do this? Like, they don't have to do this. Like, they are taking out of money they could have used to buy extra things for their kids to say, okay, let me do the godly thing and support someone else's child that is not their like, it's not their fault now. And you know, other things too, in the sense where even relationship wise, like, because eventually I grew up, you know, when I was growing up, my mom told me all kinds of terrible things about my dad. He's a terrible this, is that, is that, is that. And then I eventually grew up to meet my dad, and I just realized that, oh, these people were just two young people that did not just know how to do this relationship thing right. Like, they you know, when they I was listening to Miles Morrow, and this was the time when I was preparing to get married, so I did a lot of marriage training. And you know, he was saying, like, as a pastor, he has done a lot of counseling for divorcees or people wanting to get divorces, and out of like hundreds, thousands of divorce cases plus research he had done, a lot of people that were applying for divorce, it was not the case that they didn't love themselves. It's just that they didn't know how to tolerate each other anymore. Like, they couldn't just find a way, which is why divorce is even painful. Like, majority of the times they couldn't just tolerate each other, or there's something just significantly wrong with how they were approaching the thing. Only for me to grow up and realize that the same thing happened to my parents. I'm like, oh no, now get why this is also important too. if you've now gone around living with 27 different families in the space of 20 years, there are families that love you, that are the ones that don't love you, that are the ones that love you, but they can't really integrate you because you're not going to stay long enough to really even be a part of us in the first place. So you're just a third leg. Imagine being a teenager and they're having family meeting and you have to go and stay in one corner of the room because you can't really be involved. Those things get to you. And so I grew up, you have to fight people telling you you're not enough. You have to fight people telling you you're not, voices telling you you're not wanted. You have to fight voices telling you you're not good enough. You have to fight voices telling you you're not loved. Plus, you're not even growing up to even actually start believing those things because you've seen it long enough. It's not becoming a thing. And so, add that to becoming a teenager, puberty has kicked in. Add that to all the music videos now, Chris Brown, everybody, big booty everywhere. Add that to all the boys in secondary school that used to lie. I kissed that babe, bro. The way I touched that babe, bro. Almost she just did, bro. You were lying throughout. I know you were lying now, but then we didn't know you were lying. So everybody was trying to prove some.
Swear.
Add all that into the mix now. You have recipe for disaster because you have a young kid that desperately needs love, but it's not like skewed with so many wasted ideas. And then you now also find girls too who are also looking for love, and everybody is skewed ideas. And now you're serving breakfast, they are serving you back. You're in toxic situationships, they are in toxic situationship you back. Chaos after chaos after chaos after chaos. And then in the middle of all that, you still have to find a way to live and survive too. So this now also leads into back into like the creative space, because then at this time, at some point you just begin to feel like, okay, no, enough of this BS. I can't afford to not be able to wake up and know if they are going to kick me out of the house today. I can't afford to not know where I'm going to sleep tonight, because you're always living on your toes, right? And so I'm like 16 years old at the time, and then I walk into church, and then my pastor is shouting, "Seest thou a man diligent in his work? He will stand among kings and not mere men." That's a verse from Proverbs. "Seest thou see a man diligent in his work? He will stand amongst kings and not mere men." I'm like, hey, okay, now I look at my hands. I got this art gift, I got these songs, and I just start grinding like a mad person. So at the time, I was hoping to. This was the time where Super Strikers, Dark Edge, and there were like one or two other comics that were like really big in Nigeria. And so obviously now in my head, I was hoping, okay, you know what? Two agenda. Finish secondary school, get into university. No, I didn't even want to do university at the time, so that was even later. But at the time, I was like, finish secondary school, get a comic book job, and just start hustling. Only for me to not finish secondary school and comic industry died. I'm like, oh God, what do we do now? And these were literal prayers. Like even this what they were literal prayers. So because again, in the midst of all that drama and struggle, the consistent things were always the muffins that you had, your guys, your peers that just happened to have sense and were willing to share extra lunch with you. You know, you had that teacher or that teens pastor that just somehow saw there was a bright light ahead of you and was always trying to give you good advice and guide you. There were always people like that. And then there was also just, even the reason why I even paid attention to that was because then, you know, after very traumatic experiences, every night I'll be crying and praying, reading Psalms just to calm myself down. Then, you know, from there to translate to you getting comfort, then from there to translate to lyrics, from there to translate to you now writing a Chris Brown song and twisting it to sound like a something you read, because this was my own life, right? I wasn't going to clubs, I wasn't spending money. So even she bought that drink to drink, we drunk them. I find a way to twist it to relate to what I could experience, right? That's the pain, by the way. So all of that was happening. I was grinding. You know, this abusive place I was living in at the time, they would beat everybody up. 2 p.m. everybody would go to bed finally. Then the man of the house, he also wakes up like clockwork, 3 a.m. every night to go ease himself. And you wake up, you see me, I'm drawing in the middle of the night, drawing, writing songs, singing, drawing. And after like 3 years of staying with them, he comes out one night and he sees me and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I tell him, I was like, "I've seen you do this thing for the past 3 years you've been with us every night, like clockwork. Nothing tells me you will not make money from this thing." And that was when I knew, okay, I'd hit something. Wow. And so
the same abusive
person. So,
That's
another
crazy.
thing that happened to me in that period too was I also had to learn very quickly to also learn. You know how people tell you, listen to people that only listen to people that love you, only listen to people that are wise. Eh, you can catch wisdom from even a mad person if you know what to look for. So
Hmm.
it was easy. So even though I knew people were like maybe weird to me or hated me, even in their critique, I somehow knew how to take out what was useful for me
Hmm.
and find a way to apply it or weaponize it for my survival. So
Hmm.
so at that time it was now a weird time because this was I was 16 years old. I was now trying to like at this point now I trying to write exams to like get into school because at this point I need to get out, right? So in
Yeah.
my head is two things. One, get out of this cycle of living with people. How was my answer? Get into university, get
Hmm.
into a hostel. So at least for the next 4 years, I know bad as it bad, I can find my way from here. And it's also a cool
Exactly.
excuse because I'm not yet old enough to be like, oh, I want to go and live by myself.
On
Nobody's
your
going to allow you to do
own.
that,
Yeah.
right? So it was so much. I even was like, even like there was so much. The trauma was so much where I was even asking my church if they could rent a place for me to stay, and they were like, nope, you're too young to have a place all to
Hmm.
yourself. So school
Hmm.
was the obvious option. And then secondly, I needed to find a way to make money. So recharge card I've sold, printing press work where they used to print bank teller, I've done it. Carry block in the neighborhood, warehouse work, don't worry, name it, we've done it, right? And I was also like still sometimes you would draw for your classmates, they would give you lunch. I was doing a lot of that. And so at that time, they'd even like taking me to a Papa Wolf then to go and see somebody who they were already like planning to like send me off to go and do Unwa Boys. So if you're familiar with Unwa Boys, like the Igbo apprenticeship system where you
Yeah.
work with a senior man for like 7 years, learn the business,
Yeah.
then when you're done, you will
Then
graduate, they will give you
graduates.
money to open shop for you.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff, but it's just not what
Hmm.
I wanted because I was a
Hmm.
full-fledged end-to-end creative.
Creative.
And so
Exactly.
again, I went to go and do the only thing I knew how to do, man. I pray my eyes out, man.
Hmm.
I
Wow.
remember those prayers, man. 2012 December, Surulere Redemption Parish RCCG Church. I know those days. And then a few months after that, one of the people I've lived with prior, who knew I was really passionate about art and also knew my mom had died at the time, was like, "Oh, by the way, Angelo, how far now? Are you still drawing?" I'm like, "Yeah, boss, I still draw." And he's like, "Okay, what if I show you somebody who is doing what you want to do and is willing to teach you everything you want to know?
Hmm.
Even if you have to work there for free, will you do it?" I was like, "There's somebody doing animation right now." Because back then, so let me give you context. So when I was living with them, so I was living those, so that was like that those family that was like a bachelor setting, right? So one
Yeah.
of them, his brother was like a cool guy. Um, and then eventually we're able to. So at the time, Fashola just came into governorship, and it was my elder bros then that like did the new. They wanted to like revamp Lagos State websites. So my guys were like the people that got the contract to do that. And so from the morning now, they just say, "Oh yeah," because they too have funniest story. They too were like music artists too prior to that era when I met them. So they were like Christian urban music artists. For context, if you watch Bookies, Molejo, Lori, Agolo, Mole, the video, the guys dancing in those videos, those are my big bros.
Really.
So yeah, so they went on to like do like try to have a music thing, then eventually decided to leave that alone. But they were passionate about music. So when I came in, I'm like end to end music artists, like everything. I'm like, okay. After they did this job, they opened up like set up like a home music studio. So now I'm doing like animation and illustration in the daytime. Then when everybody has gone to bed all night, I'm producing my songs, learning how to record. When I finish recording the song, I'll do the cover art by myself. Then they will find a way to start post the song, let's start go online. And that's how we did. And one of my first songs, Open the Door, just took off in the US. And it took off so much that the platform where it took off on rapsilla.com, they're like the biggest Christian rap blog. They used to be at the time. So they used to have this whole class of, the year thing where like new talents that's coming into the game, they'll have like a whole nomination thing. And so in that same year, myself, Tobain Wigwe, What Up RG, One Day, and a few other people too were like on the nominees list for that class of that year. So, and this was even before Tobain Wigwe like started taking off on socials. So that was how the music started like took off simultaneously. So you have like me. So basically I was living like Batman, I'm an artist by day, music artist by night type of vibe. And we just kept
Wow.
like, so that's like basically the background of how I started creating, like being a full end-to-end creative. Like that's how I learned. That's how I started like getting active. And since then we've just been building, man. Just been
Wow,
building
wow,
and building and building.
wow.
Building and building.
Amazing. I mean, I've had so many moments where I was just like, eh. I have to just keep myself together. Or I think I'm sure even our listeners and our viewers can see a trend here. I think I see at least two things. I think first of all, God really just, as much as there was chaos in everything, but I think God really took interest in your life, in like keeping you grounded. Because I had so many moments where I could see there could be like a potential change in trajectory for worse. But you mentioned something. You said you went back to your roots, to the Bible, to praying, to crying, to praying, to seeking clarity. I think even though this podcast is not like a Christian podcast, but we just have to say it as it is. Every human being needs something, a source. And I think even my last guest as well also mentioned this. And I think this is just God speaking to me. Every human being needs a source. You need to be connected to something. And I think that God really just took interest in your life, because so many people probably experience 1/10 or 1/100 of what you experienced, and that's it. That's it. It's gone. Like so many moments that you could have pivoted away from the path. From a broken home, from living with abusive people, doing all kind of things. Bruh, a lot of people cannot stand. See, let me say me like this. Let me not even say a lot of people. My threshold, God knows. There's a passage in the Bible that says God will not give you a temptation that is bigger than you. Yeah. That thing is so true, bro. God knows the one that is your size, and that's not to say that that's your size, because God, you are well compensated for that now.
The only thing now is that it's just that in hindsight now.
Yeah.
It's just the honest truth, like is better in hindsight. And I mean, it's not like it was always bad in that 20 years, because there was still, you could still play. Like, it's just that there was always that undertone of chaos at all times. But of course, there were days you caught a break, right? But it was just, at the end of the day, looking back, because even at some point, for example, like, I was a proper mommy's boy, where it's so much to the point where, I mean, I was sometimes where like
the only child,
a male friend.
What else would you
eventually, be? Imagine like a male friend who was like hanging around my mom at the time. At some point when I was like 13, used to like fight her to like allow me go out and play, because burglary proof back to back. Like, your guys going to play ball inside compound, and boys, children are just animals, man. Like. No, for real, like, so you're inside your burglary proof now. Boys, when I pass, and that time, it was like the era where Lucky Dugo was doing. I was saying, I am a prisoner. They couldn't whine you, bro. I'm going like, and the honest truth is, I would have probably been like a sports brat, bro. It was wild. I would have probably been a sports brat, and as awkward and weird as I used to say, it's a case of, it was actually just. Everything is just painful, like in all the situations where, and this is one thing I always try to tell people. The Bible says things like, everything works together for good for them that love God. The problem with that verse is that everything will happen to you if you don't take time. He's just saying that I can make it work together for your good.
For good.
But it doesn't mean that you should go through all, like, there's a lot of things that you might go through in life that you probably don't have any business going through. It's just that I can shall make it work together for your good. So in my case, for example, I'm hoping I wish my mom didn't have to die. But if I was like practically under her care in my formative years, it would have probably not panned out right for me, because there was a lot I was being prepared for now that I wouldn't have had access to. And again, I say all this in hindsight. It's just like Joseph. Like, when you're looking at Joseph was a pampered kid too. I mean, coat of many colors, right? But if they didn't sell him into slavery, if he didn't work in Potiphar's house, he wouldn't have learned how to manage a master's house. He wouldn't have learned how to be diligent. If they didn't take him into prison, he probably wouldn't have learned how to navigate. Yeah, to navigate hard situations.
Yeah.
And everybody be like, oh yeah, there's a miracle, you know. Finally, when the Lord wanted to answer him, they made him Prince of Egypt. They made him prime minister. Guess what? He learned how to be prime minister as a prisoner and as a houseboy in a rich man's house. And so from houseboy, he was so much of a useful houseboy that the master decided to promote him to be the head of house. Right? He went into prison. From prisoner, he was so much of a solid guy to the point where the prison warden literally made him the representative of the prison. Like after the warden, he's the next in command. Those were training phases for him. So now he gets to the point he's in front of Pharaoh. Of course, he knows what to do with the fears of famine coming. You know, he's been prepared. But again, like I said, it's in hindsight. in hindsight now, if you're guided well, hopefully in hindsight you see the usefulness.
You see,
you know, but
in the thick of it, it's harder to see any glimmer of hope when you're in the thick of it. I haven't. I mean, I'm not gonna own your story, but I haven't experienced anything close to what you have experienced. This is your story, but with the little things I have experienced in life, yeah, it's always difficult to see anything past, you know, that moment. But
bro,
like you said, in hindsight, you can be like, oh yeah, this was training. But
makes
I'm
sense
glad
now.
we are blessed that you came out of it.
I'm so glad.
This Angeloh that we have today is so full of life and stories, and you know, you have so much to give,
bro,
because again, you see life in a different kind of way from most people, and I think that keeps you a whole lot grounded. I think it keeps you grounded so much. I don't think you can pay for that, you know. I don't think you can go learn that somewhere. I don't think you can read on that. I don't think you can watch it somewhere and say, oh yeah.
At most you will take a glimpse, but
you get
still give you the
but
picture.
when you experience it, it's a different ball game entirely. Yeah, it's a different ball game entirely.
With its own fair share of trauma too.
I mean, yeah, there's that too, you know. I mean, I have so many, you know, unraveling questions that I could ask you, speaking on this. Well, not, I mean, there's also something where people say, oh, you don't glorify trauma. Yeah, there's that. But I think there's a way to look at it in a positive way, because, again, not to say that, like you said, trauma part of it is there. So many, experiences that you've had that you can't just, you know, sweep under the carpet and say, oh, yeah, you know. They probably still probably feel some type of way about some of those things, even till now. Maybe trauma is work in progress. People say, do you really totally heal from trauma? I think for me personally, it's a work in progress.
You just get better at dealing with it.
You get better at handling and managing it. There are some that will even show up in ways that you don't even know. It's when you now think back. Like I was telling someone the other day, I was like, like I started thinking about why I react to things in a certain way, and I'm like, why do I actually react to things in a certain way? Like, why do I zone out of a conversation sometimes? And like, where did I go? Or, you know, I just start like introspecting, because I introspect it sometimes just to like analyze what is going on. I'm like, why did I react this way? When someone texts me something, why do I react this way? And when I start to unpack it, I'm like, it's trauma. Probably someone did something to me a while ago,
bro,
you know, that kind of just cut that way of reacting,
bro,
and switched it to a different way of reacting. Of, you know, maybe instead of having a normal human reaction, I now hold back and I'll be like, I don't know you. Maybe you're about to hurt me again. Maybe that person is coming back. That's trauma showing up.
I know
that's trauma showing up, sneaking up.
The other interesting thing too that people sometimes also take notes to is when the trauma decides to show up. So when you're about to make major life moves, you're trying to start a business, you're trying to build a personal brand, you find a girl or guy you actually want to get married with too.
Yes.
Oh, you're married.
That's trauma's favorite.
You're expecting your first child. You need to move to a different culture and a different country. There are parts of you never knew existed that will just show up.
It's just show up.
If God is not on your side and He has not given you like systems to like navigate trauma, and by systems I mean your source, friends that can tell you the truth, that can tell you the truth, right? And you also even having a teachable spirit too, because there are some people like they don't like you telling them the truth, and that's the fastest route to just self-destruct, right? So, but just be aware, like I wait to what God just happened. Like, I think I was always just aware that these moments will come. And then I'm just lucky to always have great people around me to help, absorb the shock and help you navigate each season as it comes. So, man, it's real stuff, man.
Wow. Real stuff. I mean,
Yes.
your story is so inspiring still.
Thanks,
I think, another way to look at it is like you're doing so much work, so much good with, your story. You're inspiring young people. I saw your content the other day, talking to young people. So that's another way that, it's not like they say something like show, don't tell.
Bro,
You
so
can
what you
show. You can definitely show. You can say, look, my life should serve as an example for you. Like, you not even go through, like...
I don't even need to give you advice. Once I just
Like-
tell the story. Funny thing that ever happened that day. So, like, was the
Yeah.
panel said myself and other amazing guys were speaking and sharing. And I think majorly I spent more time just sharing my story. By the time we're done, like, there were a lot of... teenagers now, just big Kenya, like, big boys just bawling their eyes out, crying. Like, it was just the
Damn.
story alone. And then I just ended with, like, but how do I look now? Like, when you saw me come up here, what did you perceive? Does it look anything like where that story is coming from? That's proof that tomorrow will be fine for you. If that's all I do, just remind you that don't worry, it gets better. It gets better. Like,
Wow.
not alone.
Okay, let's move. Okay, so your work now, you said you do UI creative, full-fledged creative. You're a singer. Let's talk about your music first.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, you said you were immersed in, your mom, your dad. Your mom was a creative, your dad was a creative, your dad was a DJ. All that stimulation. Obviously, something had to come out of it. But I mean, I didn't expect that everything will come out of it. So
Bro,
now
everything.
you're singing, and I mean, so much. I think like your music is so inspiring. Your music is
Thank you
so
so
good.
much. Thank you
Good
so much.
music, good vibes, good melodies, good sound. Performing very well. Having like, I mean, what has this journey been like for you? The journey, just the music part of your journey. What has it been like for you?
The music part has been a case of pioneering and being an outlier at the same time. So pioneering in the sense that, if you think like now when people say, oh, Christian music, gospel music, now people think Jose Oyeko, Chandler,
Yes.
there's a particular thing people think about.
Yes.
But funny story, there was once upon a time before that era where the biggest artists in the country, period, not biggest Christian, like the biggest artists in the country were actually Christian artists, but they were not singing slow songs. Rooftop MC. They were not regarded as
Rooftop
Christian. They were just
MCs.
artists. Like, these were guys that the band was farming, right?
Wow.
They were the T.Y. Bellows, Kush. Let us live together. And that's even
True.
the era before the land is green, when she was not doing her own solo thing. We
Yeah.
had people like Buki, like I said, Moledu. Like, these were the top guys. Like, if we're talking female rappers in the country, we're calling Buki's name. It's not female Christian rapper. It's female rappers in the country, period. Right?
Yeah.
And then there was a shift that happened at some point in time. Everybody that generation just moved away. And then you now had like the worship guys become the forefront and the face of the thing. And then over the next couple of years, what now started happening, there was now another generation. Obviously, now our young people now, we were born in a different time now. Like, many of us are creatives at the heart. So there was no way we were going to come out sounding normal, right? And so what's now happening is that there's a resurgence now of a generation that's making music, arts, across, like creativity across board, but like and we're saying, just like how some people decide that drugs, some rappers, they just rap about drugs, the drug life. Some people just rap about love and sex and club life. We just talk about, hey, like this is, so like you see someone like me now, I can't come and be singing about any other kind of story. Like, I lived an actual life with actual struggles and actual issues and navigated it a certain way. I'm obviously going to make music about that. And again, the kind of music I listened to was very expressive music. Shadi Adu, Seal, Tupac, Dr. Dre, T-Pain. Like, I listen to everybody, and these are people that are like expressing different, they're expressing life with different sounds. So I
Yeah.
didn't get it why you could say we're Christians and the music we're doing was only addressing one aspect of our lives, which was I'm worshiping God
Yeah.
or I'm expecting something from God. I'm like, yeah, but the Bible also spoke. I mean, there's literal, like I make a joke a lot of times, some people like to ask, like when you want, and I'm sure you're probably your in-laws, depending on who they are, asked you this, so, or, why do you want to get married? What's your purpose for getting married? And like, I wanted to have sex and not be worried that I'm singing.
I
Guys,
mean,
like, bro,
easy peasy.
like,
Easy
easy
peasy.
peasy, bro. But of course, the same Bible too also, and it's even biblical. Like, there's this part in the Bible where Paul was like, bro, like, if you're a young virgin, get married, yo. Like, don't stay by yourself. If you're a young guy, like, I would like you guys to be like me, don't marry so you can serve the Lord fully with all your heart and no distractions. But if you can't hold your body, like, get married, man. But also know that when you get married, there are responsibilities that come in marriage you have to also wake up to. So I had to also wake up to those responsibilities. As much as I love the fact that I get to have holy sex, right? So, and I'm like, yeah, so all these experiences are there in the Bible. You won't tell me, like, nobody's going to bamboozle me that there's no other experience to talk about. And so I decided, okay, I navigated my relationships with this person. I navigated life from this perspective. I'm going to make music so that everybody like me who is going through what I'm going through now, or will go through what I'm going through now, or is going to experience it in some form or manner, hopefully has a soundtrack for their life, because nobody else is creating it anyway. Right? When you're watching a beautiful movie, when the person is happy, there's a soundtrack for that. When they're heartbroken, there's a soundtrack for that. When they're in love, there's a soundtrack for that.
True.
Why would a Christian, just because they gave their life to Jesus now, no longer have soundtracks for the different aspects and areas of their life? Like, make it make sense to me. So, and that's what I decided to do. So I was going to make songs for people who loved God, people who were struggling with their love for God, people who were struggling to live right, people who were struggling with life, people who were going through pain, people having relationship problems, people enjoying their relationships, people enjoying their work with God, people struggling with their work with God, people looking for money, people that have money. Like, make music that people who believe the kind of things I believe in and live with the kind of worldview that I have can connect to and finally have soundtracks for every moment of their lives. And that's what kicked off that whole journey. And of course, now it didn't make sense because at the time you were either a worship music artist so that church can call you, or you were timid Dakolo and bass, just okay in between, And me, I was like, no, I can do the full range, and that's what I need to do. And funny enough, like I said, my schooling now was crowdfunded. Year 3 when Unilag, I think, funny story, every time I go back to Unilag now, I literally say this every time. Thank you God I was broke when I was in Unilag. If we had money in that school, bro, these things you said about my life going straight, if or not straight, nah, like, God did that. This one, I can't even accuse any human being. God made me broke in Unilag. I leave it like that. I tell it down straight. I would have been useless, yo, bro.
Oh my goodness.
Rich kid in Unilag.
Unilag is a tricky, bro. It's a slippery slope,
bro. Boxed up creative kid in Unilag, you're gone now.
Oh my goodness.
I was broke, yo. I was broke, man. We was broke. And so, and then, like, at that time, so I was broke with relationship drama here and there. That time I was even doing best friend, best friend route, so you don't have river to close together, so you not be a best friend for year 1 to year 4, hoping that boyfriend would be a shitty person and I finally dated that, and it became a whole shit show. Bro, like, see, you see things, man.
Oh my goodness.
Of course, you're performing you're trying to perform in your department. There are some shows you go to, you bounce, they will say, wait, it'll be your turn, so your turn, and the show will close. And there was a guy who was about to graduate at the time who really just loved my sound, and he said, okay, you know what, I have some connect, let me take you. So at the time, this is like 2016-ish, the person who was like running brand deals for Whiskey and Co was the person he had a back end connect to, and that person was trying to start like a record label at the time. And so they like took me, man, let's see this person, played my sound for the bros. Man, I was feeling the sound. I was like, man, this is solid. Like, so you have to understand, this is me, broke Unilag, 300 level students, being crowdfunded for school, sitting in a room where they love your sound and they're about to put a 7-figure deal on a table to sign you for a brand new label. The only request is this your Jesus thing, you know. I mean, you already make the sound, like you're doing Afrobeat R&B, like you don't need, like you're already making the sound. And for context, then I was going to art shows, like, because again I was in creative arts, so like we're in the heart of arts on campus and off campus. So they're doing shows outside, like art exhibitions, where you have art, like, you know, we're artists now, bro. Like we're artists, we're expressive, we're raunchy, we're as naughty as can be, drugs, every vice, like we're whole rounded. Like it's when I say we're artists, like it's there. So imagine you're not going to art shows and there's a music segment and I'm coming up and I'm doing my songs, and at the end of the songs, you know, you have people come up to you, man, bro, man, I loved your vibe. And it's Christian, right? I say, bro, yeah, they say, man, bro, it's so dope, man. Meanwhile, on the other hand, church people are like, you are just scattered, you are distracted, this is not the will of God, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then there's somebody that tries to also get you to do a deal, and they say, just leave the Jesus out. And I'm like, no, fam, like, it's not like I'm not going to do that in my career, where I'm going to make songs that are not specifically about Jesus, but it's not because you tied me to a money deal. Like at that point, I've traded something, I've traded freedom I don't have, and my freedom is very important to me, all right? So I'm after like 2 weeks, because I will not say it as if we did not think about that money twice, because we were broke, man. So, but like, I think like took 2 weeks to think and pray about it. I was like, nah, fam. I know, like after my manager got the guy, so the guy was trying to bring my manager, and I say, bro, see, you know, you can just take this money, just do what they want, just like a 3-year deal, you know, I can use that money at fame and now go, you know, let this girl start be flowing around you now, you know, as can. And don't get it twisted, not like I did not have an eye for the girls too, but I couldn't just do it this way.
Yeah.
Funny story now, I mean, of course, this is not a bragging point as a Christian, but bro, if you were a wild person, I'm staying true to what God called me to do is offering me everything they wanted me to trade at the time, and not be free. Like if it's money, on it day. If it's shows, I do shows. If it's girls, now I'm praying to God. I have to literally travel everywhere with my wife or my manager to avoid stories that touch, because I'm not that strong, right? I use systems. I don't use willpower. I use systems. If I'm moving, my wife is either traveling with me or my guys that are like, we cannot be together and both sing. It's not gonna happen. So I mean, now, so fast forward that. So what we have then was, you know, people were trying to understand what exactly we're doing now. So me, I was forced to build outside. So a lot of people that, you know, their music blew up inside church, we were forced to blow outside church. And so since then, we've just been building community. Now we're in a space where we have, you know, hundreds of thousands of listeners to our songs online every month. We have our music in like top grossing Nollywood films. I'm making Jesus music, I'm making love songs, I'm performing at people's weddings. They have songs to use to enjoy themselves now and not feel like you have to raise your ear afterwards. You know, I'm going to shows, children are having a great time, and they are not listening to songs that, you know, nowadays, like there's no, you know, then there was rated 18, rated 16, 13 plus. But those ratings seems to fail when you go to birthday parties of children. Like you're in children's parties and you're listening and they're playing songs for them to dance to that are supposed to be like adult level song. And I'm happy now we get to be in spaces where, like if you come to our concerts and come to our shows, you know, like people are turning up like mad. Like it's wild level, like energy you probably see only at a Rema show. Nobody is high, nobody's smoking, nobody's on alcohol, nobody's on any substance abuse, just young people on pure energy, man. Lit, and their parents can come to and be turning up with them and nobody feels out of place. That's the kind of thing we're building out here, man. So it's just beautiful to see. Now we're traveling everywhere. We have people now that have become global stars out of it. We have people that are like trending right now. Gaze Baba, no turning back. Global phenomenon like the Limo Blazes, the Endless Oceans. Like there are now lots of us as opposed to them where they were like very little and we're having to over explain what we're trying to do. It's just a beautiful time, man. We're making a lot of impact as we go. So it's for that next level, like the video level noise on the road where everybody knows. That's what's next, basically, for a lot of people now.
Yes. So amazing stuff. Tell me about your relationship with your wife.
Also, long story short, like I said, you know, like dating scene for me was just a hellhole because I came in with a lot of good intentions mixed with bad injections. So or bad
Look at the
perspectives.
wordplay.
Let me put it.
Look
Good
at the
intentions.
artist working. Look at the artist working out words.
It was intentional actually, because those things were like added into the mix. Like there was the intention, but those things were like added into the mix. So like I said in the beginning of the podcast, after living as a third leg for so long in places that didn't make you feel like you belong, you come out with normally for the average young person, especially in the kind of world we've built now that has romanticized romance, right? Like there's already a lot of desire to be in a relationship. Talk more now when you add the trauma of actually being starved of love for decades on end. 2019, 2020, I'm like, oh my God, how could I do this thing? Lucky for me to also like, I had just met a very solid, so basically now all this awesome stuff I'm doing, everything since 2018, since 2019 is I've now had like my strategist that I work with, is like my closest guy. So like when we were chatting the other day, like every creative, this one, pure creative advice from the Hungry Creative platform. If you're a creative person, find a creative strategist. Someone that understands strategy for creatives. Like that's the best thing that can happen to you. And so that guy became my best friend. So it was like lock-in, brotherhood, fellowship, accountability, creativity, joint passion to like build a creative ecosystem that people who want to do Christian content, value-based content can thrive on across board. Those are the things we are very passionate and building actively for. So I'm like, man, Lord, I will go do this thing now, because now I'm like, okay, Lord, I want to just take this time, understand myself, figure myself out, because yes, I need a family to call my own. I need to have love for myself. Like I can't do this thing again by myself. What's up? And so me and my guy had made a pact, and my guy, go to NYC, do not date anybody, no give anybody eye, do nothing. Go single, come back single, go and think about your life, use it as your holiday reset. So me, I was fully locked in.
Okay.
And for context too, prior to that, the year before that, during lockdown, we're doing a lot of, so while people were on lockdown, me, I was there on the side doing work for Lagos State. So me, all the pandemics have been favorable to me. Sorry, but not sorry. Like when Ebola happened, I happened to be part of the illustrators that was working on healthcare campaigns for the Lagos State government and the private partner organizations. Then so like a lot of the illustrations and comics that went out to sensitize people about healthcare measures during Ebola time, most of those illustrations were mine. COVID happened, I found myself in another Lagos State gig, and I'm here chatting like billboards, illustrations everywhere, like we're working. And then we're also like doing a lot of personal development too. So we're like watching videos on marriage, watching videos on like revival. I mean, we're Christian boys, so we did what Christian boys do: revivals, marriage, and like obviously play a lot of games too. Like if we scattered that FIFA to death. So, but there was a lot of preparation that happened in that timeline, and simultaneously, she was also having a lot of preparation on her side.
Okay.
So we both came to camp with the energy of don't date anybody. So I was done with that since I was like, let me just come up, like just be friends. And so we're working together. We're in the same unit. We're like always, and we're the kind of people to always take on more responsibility. We're always looking for stuff to do by organizing, leading, then doing presenting shows, organizing all those NYSC camp conference and talk things that not concern anybody. We're the ones there. In our case now, we're not looking. So we dey argue, we dey debate, serious debates, we dey talk about our life, talk about perspectives, talking about different things, just with everybody. Like we're just living life. 2.5 weeks into camp, suddenly my checklist just came up into my mind. Like, bro, something is happening right now. Like, what's happening? I'm talking to myself. I just realized that all the refined checklists now for what I was looking for in the kind of woman I wanted, like I knew I needed to have in my life. There's somebody on this camp that's just taking this thing recklessly. So I called my guy. I said, bro, I know we had a plan, right? But let me give you updates. Sir, something is happening now. But I was like, guy, bro, something is happening on this camp. Bro. Like, there's this babe, bro. Like, I'm broke. Like, I'm straight. I'm not here doing anyhow. But I'm telling like, this is our list where we draw. Because me and my guy drew this list together. Like, bro, I they see prototype for this place. So, and the thing is prototyping like mad. It's like, oh yeah, now let's pray now. So, he say pray, they watch. So, we're just watching. And then I'm watching. just watching. I didn't say anything. But then she was also Yoruba, and there were a lot of the guys that they could speak Yoruba with fluently. And me, I was not the Yoruba. I was like, I hope this Yoruba thing will not go and be stumbling block because it's English will be speaking in my house.
Oh my
You know.
goodness.
And if you've been around, you know that there are some people that just love them their indigenous language. Like it's not like they can flow in
Yes.
English, but
Yes.
on an intimate level, they want to bond a certain way. So I was like, well, now add that to the fact that I was not willing to and I didn't have liver to toast. So I was like, God,
To
I must see.
toast.
I like this girl. Another thing too was that was also the time where I was beginning to fix. So you have to not like when I say 27 different families with 20 years, you have to understand the 27th family was the family where I moved in to start learning how to do animation and stuff. Like I lived with them from 2011 all the way down to 2020. So I literally like they were the I moved my first own house was moving to get married. So I was still trying to figure out how to, organize my finances. Am I making enough money? How more? And this babe is the kind of babe where, like, I talked with her enough to know that if I do mistake, tell this girl I like her. We have to know as an agenda that we are getting married in a year or so, max. Like, you just have to know that if I tell her I like her, and she digs me enough to say yes, there's a timeline already. The clock is on. Because we already knew enough about each other. Like, there's no point. So funny thing, that night, one of the girls now asked, oh, by the way, we're going back home. So just in case, so if I want all of us to say the truth now, is there anybody here that, you're having a crush on or you would consider dating? Yeah, I just want to keep my mouth shut. And that's why everybody was just talking and going around. And then it got to her. And then she said, if there's anybody I would actually love to date, if it would happen, it's Angeloh. So I literally pray to God. I say, God, if this thing is you, run it. And this babe says, if he was ever going to consider anybody to be me, bro.
Wow.
5 years later, 4-year-old daughter later, we are here.
Wow.
Several music video vixens in, an official stylist.
Wow, such an amazing, amazing story.
Even there you can see God in it. So like it's hard for me. I can't divorce. Like I can't be atheist. It's not possible. I can't. Like
how can you?
I can't. It's not.
How can you?
I can't show you point for point. It's not just like they literally like it's the case of God has taken a small boy and made a man out of him. Like I can't. I'm not one of those guys that I don't have the luxury of forming that there's no God. I don't have that luxury, man.
Amazing, amazing story.
Full on creative,
so many
full on
things.
Lover boy, full on people person. That's Angeloh, man.
Amazing. Okay, wrapping up now. We're gonna ask our last question of the session, which is, what are you currently doing to be a better version of yourself?
This question is funny because I was just asking you what your productivity stack is like. For those of us that swim in Notion up and down. So I'm doing a lot of introspective right now. I mean, I'm always doing that, but in a sense where there's a. So I touched on a little bit about trauma before, and so like I'm in another phase now where I'm working to evolve from a certain kind of mindset. So it's like happening holistically. For example, little things like, yeah, sure, I love the fact that like I'm a multi-creative and I get to do a lot of things, but now it's more and more paramount that we get to do a lot of like build people around us that can join together to do those things so we can grow at scale, grow at speed, and just even enable, because the truth is we're also working on things so that can help. You know how somebody else was building something that I could come and learn from and now build a life from that platform. It's now my turn to open the gates for more people to come in so they too can start building their own life and having their own awesome stories that hopefully they could come share on your podcast one day. So that means I'm having to rewire a lot of the thinking that was so I would put it this way. So it's been like a 2-3 year thought process. So literally God was like, popular scripture, if you're a Christian you already know it, forget the former things, remember not the things of old, behold I'm doing a new thing and shall spring forth. You did not know it. So then he now explained, he said, for you specifically, this is what I'm trying to say. When you are watching Elon Musk launch a rocket, he's trying to launch a space shuttle, right? And it requires rocket boosters to do so. And so it will lift off, and it has that whole big burst of energy. But as soon as it escapes the Earth, even before it escapes, I think at some certain heights, some rockets will fall off. Then the next phase of boosters takes it out into orbit, and then those final set of boosters come off. And God was like, if you don't let go of those boosters, they will destroy your mission where you are now. What he was saying was there's a lot of mindset, especially survival mindset and survival tactics that were useful for the past 2 decades of my life, or more specifically the past decade of my life, that were useful to help me do a lot of things amazingly. But now I need to rewire how I move and how I think through things so that I can operate on the new level where I am now. So, and in many cases, the trauma, so when I even say trauma, the trauma doesn't necessarily even mean bad things. It might just mean, oh, there's a way you were doing stuff before. You have to just change how you think about it. You have to change how you move about it. So there's a lot of looking. I mean, if I show you my journal and my Notion and my Google spreadsheet and my Word doc, I've probably reviewed, hacked into my vision plan like 875 iterations plus. Or perfectionism too is also one of those things we're trying to like throw out of the window,
Yes.
Before you hide it inside being you can hide it inside I have an eye for detail. It's borderline perfectionism. So and just a lot of soul searching, praying, and looking for, and just trying to also like learn to like be more audacious with the things we're doing, build fast, build big, sometimes move and and trust that provision will come on the way. So because there's a lot we're doing right now, so we're doing a lot of thinking. We're working on projects, currently working on a documentary that is supposed to that is touching on the journey and impact of unconventional gospel music out of Nigeria. So Pan and Percy, Paul, Kush, Rooftop MCs, Harry Soul, and Co, all the way down to my generation, right? Because there's so much that's happening there, and nobody has signed out to like curate that story. And it's a powerful story. So that's some of the projects we're working on Bay or No Bay, working on music, working on platforms, working on building, our agency as well, so we can power more events.
Nice.
So it's more of a capacity building season or capacity reinventing season, and also, I'm also doing a lot of trainings too. So training people how to animate, training people how to like edit videos, so that we can like democratize the skill sets, and just building, praying, setting the groundwork for the next phase for the next 10 to 20 years to run.
Amazing.
That's the agenda right now, man.
Wow. So big. I was going to ask a question. I think I should still ask it. Okay. I think it's a perfect reflective question, because we tend to ask our reflective questions at the end. I think it's a perfect one. If you could go back and talk to a 10-year-old Angeloh, what would you tell him?
So, if I would go back to my 10-year-old self, I would tell him, believe, cry less, worry less, will be very, very all right. Like, that's all I would tell him. Like, cry less, worry less, trust me, will be very, very all right. Like, will be everything we wanted to be. Like, if my 10-year-old self saw me now, like I'm his dream come true. Like, there's nothing left. So it's just that for those of us now, high performers now, used to forget. So the carrot that is still in front of you now is making you feel like you have not done so much. But my 10-year-old self saw me now, I'm the echelon of everything he dreamed of. Like, nothing is left again. So nothing. It's just either scaling it or becoming something new. So
amazing.
I'll just tell him, don't worry less, cry less. You are exactly where you need to be, going through exactly what you need to go through.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Okay, now that we've spoken about that, I feel like I want to train a bit of fun to just
It's been a deep episode.
Fire questions. Yeah, it's been a deep one. Would you rather be in studio all day or on stage all night?
Studio all day versus stage all night.
I can't.
There are two different separate times of the day. Can we have both?
You want to have both? You want to be in studio all day and stage all night? No
And
sleep.
the whole point of the studio all day is to be on stage all night. That's the whole point.
Wow.
That's
This man
the
is a
whole
hungry
point.
creative. This man
That's
is
the whole point now.
a very
The
hungry
studio work
creative.
is so that we can be on the stage. So
Wow.
I mean, on this day, that's the whole point. You can sleep the
Okay.
next day,
Fair enough. When the paychecks are coming in, you can sleep.
bro. You sleep the next day, my guy.
Yeah. Okay, another one for you. If you weren't doing music, art, or animation, what an alternate career for you that you'd be doing?
If I wasn't doing any of the art I'm doing,
Yeah.
so it depends. Depends on when I caught the vision. I would have been like an architect.
Really?
Although that one too is, I mean, if you say, except you want to take out the artistic gift, if you're taking out the artistic gift entirely, but if the artistic gift is there, I would have probably been an architect because I was a science student in high school. So, boy, minus that, I love speaking a lot, like actually like connecting with people.
What's one song of yours that you want people to play 30 years from now, and why? So what's that evergreen song that you just love? Like, it might not be the most popular, but you just love that one song,
So,
and you
so
want people to
funny
always
thing,
play it. Yeah.
I do have a song like that already currently speaking, and it's not even necessarily my fave, but it was the second song I ever released. Until date, it's still my biggest streaming song. Like, I have like 11 million streams totally right now on all my music, and that song is still like number one even this week, and it's opened the door. Is basically is a very reflective song that is unnecessarily catchy for a reflective song. And it's basically about, so it's like Jesus, Revelation says, I stand on the door of your heart and knock. If you open, I'll come in and sup with you. And so the whole premise is like, it's written from the perspective of Jesus talking to you. So like when you're listening to the song, you could just literally imagine like Jesus is talking to you, like, I'm at the door of your heart, open up, let me help you fix up. People love the song to shake it. Whoever heard it in 2017, they are still streaming the song like it's the best thing since sliced bread. So
Love it.
I think that's gonna be the song. Yeah.
Love it. Amazing. So it's been amazing speaking with you, Angeloh. For the community, can you on the spot? Can you on the spot give us a short tune for the Hungry Creative?
Okay. Even if I have a billion tongues, it would never be enough to say how I feel. Even if I have a billion words, it would never be enough to say thank you, my Lord. Even if I have a billion words, it would never be enough to say how I feel. Even if I have a billion words, it will never be enough. Say thank you, my Lord. Thank you, my Lord. Thank you, my Lord. I've come to say thank you, my Lord. Let's leave it there.
Wow. That was amazing, bro. On the spot.
Thank you, man.
Man. Shout out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Hello, guys. It's your favorite boy, Angeloh, and you've been listening to the Hungry Creative Podcast with the one and only Mofi. Amazing.